Hey, welcome to the Route 56 recap. This weekend our lesson was on baptism, not so much the act of baptizing and what that means, but the baptism of Christ and what that symbolized, how John identified him as a Messiah. I want to read to you our central verse just so you kind of get a feel for where we were going. It's John chapter 1, verse 29, and it says, The next day John saw Jesus coming toward him and said, "Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." Powerful statement about who Jesus is, the Lamb of God. You need to know that at the time, the Jewish people were impoverished, under an oppressive government. Their religious activities had become stale because they were so ritualized, and they were looking desperately for a Messiah. So when John came baptizing, that was an exciting thing for them. But this idea of him as the Lamb of God, it wasn't necessarily what they wanted. And I don't know how much they grasped that at the time, but they were wanting a ruler, they were wanting a king, they were wanting someone victorious. A lion would be a better animal to describe what they wanted, and they were getting this lamb. And our Route 56 kids really understood that. When you ask them, what's a lamb like? They understood it's very gentle, it's very, it's not this strong conquering animal, it's small. And they understood that a lamb is used for sacrifice, that you kill a lamb. And so that whole concept of Jesus coming as the Lamb of God probably through the Jewish people, and that was our focus for the lesson, was just this idea that Jesus came to make us get better, not to make us feel better. And the people at that time were looking for someone that would solve some of their problems. They were going through incredibly rough times, not necessarily to change their hearts, to change who they are and what was going on inside of them. Sometimes it's hard to identify what your expectations are of God, and I found that a way I can think through that better is to think of times that I'm disappointed with God, or times that I feel like He let me down. And in those moments, I've been learning to pause and think, why do I feel like you let me down? Is this something you promised that you would do, or is this just something that I want? And it helps me see when I'm thinking within this framework of wanting God to be this king and this victor and to save me from my problems, or if I'm looking to God to change me and to comfort me and take care of me and get me through this life so that I can enter the new life that He has for me. And that's a hard thing to do sometimes, because we want this life to be good. And that's not really what God is about. And we see all the way back, in the days where Jesus is getting baptized, He's coming as a lamb. He's not coming as this big lion to do business. So I'd encourage you just to talk to your children this week about what do you expect of God? What do you want Him to do in your life? And when do you feel disappointed? And did He really let you down? Or is this more of what He really wants for your life, of changing you and building you, and not leaving you just to be the same person? It's hard for us. We don't see eternity all the time. But that's this week. I'll see you next week.